Hallo meine Lieben, herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Video. Neben mir sitzt Adam und wir führen jetzt ein kleines Interview, nämlich Adam ist Yogalehrer hier in Estepona. Das ganze Interview wird allerdings auf Englisch stattfinden, weil er ursprünglich auch aus England kommt und wir uns da einfach leicht unterhalten können. Ich wünsche euch ganz viel Spaß mit dem Interview. Los geht's. First, hi Adam.
Hello Nicole.
Nice to meet you.
And yourself?
Namaste. It's the yogi thing. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about yoga and your way and your studio and how it is everything.
Okay.
So I'm curious, how did you come to yoga?
My journey into yoga, I guess, was a little different to most. I used to work in a very different, have a very different lifestyle, we could say. I used to work offshore. I used to work on boats. And I only had a very small place, a very small space where I could exercise.
Was it back in England?
It was really all over the world.
Oh, wow.
So boats all over the place, be it from Africa to Australia to Indonesia to America, all over the world. But being on a boat, you have quite limited space. And I was following a yoga exercise video, basically just to keep myself fit as I went through when I was away offshore, which was about 6 weeks at a time. And I just loved it, you know, it kept me fit, it gave me a nice sensation of well-being. And then when I finished, when I quit my previous job, which was back in 2013, more or less, maybe a little later, I decided that I wanted to take the yoga thing a little bit further for me, because I was going to have a lot more free time. I wanted to learn how to be comfortable with myself and learn how to be happy being relaxed. Was the reason that I wanted to take the yoga a little bit further.
So did you then start visiting yoga classes?
I started visiting a lot of yoga classes because at that point I already lived in Spain as well.
Oh.
So I knew I had in mind that I wanted to take the yoga a little further. So I really put a lot of attention into trying going to yoga classes that were in Spanish as well, to try and help my Spanish language as well as my my knowledge and my depth of my yoga practice.
And what was the point you decided to do a teacher training?
So I guess when I finished my previous job, I already had an idea that I wanted to do a teacher training course, but with absolutely no plan or premise of being a yoga teacher. Like I said, it was just to learn, to help me relax, to help me be happy with who I was in a little way. So when I then came off the boats, I had a few months, like I said, going to all of those yoga classes, trying to increase my Spanish yoga lingo. And then after that, I took my first training course, which would have been in, about 2013, 2014.
Where did you do that?
So my yoga teacher training, the first one that I took was actually in Malaga. And I think it's maybe quite common that first-time yoga teachers or people that maybe are not so deeply involved in the world of yoga will try and look for maybe a more economic, a slightly cheaper teacher training option, or that's quite convenient. So for me, my wife was expecting at the time. We were expecting our first baby, so I didn't want to go too far away. So my teacher training was a 200-hour, 25 days, I think, but it was here in Malaga, so it wasn't so far away.
How was it to do these 200 hours in this short time? I'm curious because in a few weeks I'm going to India doing 300 hours in 30 days. Yeah. And I did the long way before for my 200 hours. Sure. So how was it?
I think there are pros and cons to both styles.
Yes.
But I would say the 200-hour, the short format, let's say in a month or 25 days or however long it is, it's intense. It's a really incredible experience. I think the longer style yoga teacher trainings give you a little bit more of a chance to take some of that knowledge in.
Yes.
And practice what you learn, read a book. You know, the anatomical things, you can experience them a little further. Whereas on the short format teacher trainings, you really get wrapped up in it. You know, you get taken on the ride. So you'll make some seriously close friends. You'll enjoy the experience, the food, the sharing, the accommodation, where you're living. It's a real
more like
experience.
Living and exploring the yoga philosophy and everything.
Of course.
And of course, talking about it with the whole ecosystem
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah, for sure. Being it, like you said, you're going to go to India, so you're going to be there, and you're really going to soak in the that Indian vibe and that Indian atmosphere as well.
Yeah, oh, I'm excited about that. You said in the first place, you just want to go your own yoga path, learn a little bit more about the asanas and philosophy, relaxing and everything. What was the point you decided to teach yoga?
So I guess it was during the teacher training, the first teacher training that I was on. By that point, I was really starting to experience, and prior to doing the teacher training, the benefits that you can get from it. I guess I was always very physical before practicing yoga anyway, be it kite surfing or climbing or snowboarding. You know, there's a whole list of physical things that I used to do. But what I noticed from the yoga is the sensation of well-being that I got from it. And I suppose that when I was going through the teacher training course, I realized that I'm one of the people that has that ability to share things. I like being in front of the camera, which is quite good today, I guess.
Yes.
I like being the center of attention. So for me to be on at the front of the room, being the one guiding the class, I thought that I had the skill set to be able to do that. And in my own mind, I thought if I can give people some of the benefit and some of that fabulous sensations and the well-being that I receive from it, then it will be a job well done in a way.
Yeah, that's great. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
So you have more than 200 hours?
Yeah, so I've since that I've completed another 200-hour in Ashtanga Vinyasa and another 250 or 300 hours in rocket yoga training.
Yeah, great. Yeah. We come back later to rocket yoga.
Okay, fine.
So did you start to just teach yoga lessons? Of course, I think it was a way. And then to open an own yoga studio is
It's a step. It definitely is a
bigger step.
Yeah. So I started initially, I was teaching in a local, not really a gym, but more of a local karate and dance school. So they had a little room at the back that they didn't use so much, and that was where I really began.
That's a perfect thing.
It was really good. It was very close. It was very convenient for me. It was quite low key, nothing too fancy. And I stayed there teaching for about 2 years. And over those 2 years, I started to really build a community of people that...
Was it there in Estepona then?
Absolutely, yeah. It was about 250 meters from where we are now. It was really close. So I started to build that community of people that enjoyed practicing with me, and they liked the style of yoga that I wanted to share. And so after that point, after building that community, when I then took the step to open my own yoga studio, I already had a following. I already had a bit of a base of clients. So it wasn't really a step into the unknown.
Yeah, there will be people there.
Exactly, yeah. I was also lucky. No, lucky's the wrong word. Fortunate that a friend came along with me who's an osteopath and a masseuse, an acupuncturist.
That's the one I saw today.
Exactly, Miguel Angel, yeah. So he came along with me as well. So we opened the space together, which also gave us a huge benefit, because we share costs, we share expenses.
Yeah.
He brings me clients, I bring him clients. It's a really good sort of partnership to work in somebody in that with.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your yoga studio.
Okay.
What are the kinds of yoga styles
that we teach?
You will offer, yes.
So there's a few teachers. I'm not the only teacher, so we offer various styles. I would always class myself as a rocket yoga teacher. However, I also do teach Vinyasa. I have another couple of teachers that teach Hatha, quite a basic form of Hatha, really focused on alignment and the basis of the poses, really sort of helping people begin on the yoga journey to make sure they're safe. And then a few that lean more towards a Hatha flow style, which is more starting to come into Vinyasa, but maybe with a little bit more time in the poses, still paying attention to the alignment, to the movement, but also keeping that tradition of Hatha alive, which is all physical yoga at the end of the day. There's also a lady that teaches Pilates, so we do offer a few Pilates classes as well. The two go hand in hand again, good for strengthening, but people do get confused when we start to mix up how people should breathe between the two.
I know. I have one Pilates class in my studio as well.
Yeah.
I love her. I love what she does. And it's really, I get muscle pain after. Everything hurts and I feel my whole body.
Yeah.
But with the breathing,
Oh yeah, it's a problem.
I'm totally confused.
It's hard. It's hard work, especially if you've practiced yoga for a number of years.
Yes.
So then for somebody to tell you to breathe out through your mouth and exhale sharply, it feels quite foreign.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about rocket yoga.
Okay.
I heard a few things, but you not. Rocket yoga.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Ashtanga inspired Vinyasa thingy.
Absolutely. As a rocket teacher and as a firm believer in rocket yoga as a series of yoga, let's say, it is based in Ashtanga yoga. So it really takes the principles of Ashtanga, the base of our practice, Tristana, our drishti, the pranayama, our breath, and also our bandhas, so the energetic locks in our body. And it uses those bases, but in a way that's a little bit more flexible than Ashtanga in terms of we have...
So you don't have these straight series, first asana, 1, 2, 3?
We do have series, but they're more of a framework which we can build around and upon. So it's not quite so strict as Ashtanga. It's got the discipline, it's got the strength involved from Ashtanga, but we've got a little bit more flexibility and creativity. The original idea was that it was designed to make Ashtanga accessible for everybody.
So you can say who can join the rocket yoga? Everybody.
The idea is for everybody. Rocket yoga also has a little bit of a reputation of being quite strong and quite fast, but there's always modifications and there's always variations. We can wind it up to cater for the stronger students. We can also offer modifications. You can bend a knee, you can use a block, you can use a strap. We really try and promote them as mixed level classes. And from my experience of teaching it now for quite a few years, that you can get beginners and advanced people in the same class, and they all really get a different experience, but a fabulous experience. I really enjoy it.
That's great. You know the guy who started rocket yoga or created rocket yoga?
Not quite. So the guy that originally formed it, Larry Schultz, he unfortunately passed away. And one of his direct students, David Kyle, is probably the one that is one of the main promoters of rocket yoga, that carries the rocket yoga flag. He owns the trademark of rocket yoga.
Where was it created?
It was created in San Francisco.
Oh.
Back in the late 90s. And then the first teacher training started to happen in the early 2000s. And then I think the first rocket teacher trainings that were happening in Europe started in around 2010. I'm not exactly sure, but around that kind of time. But they've been running teacher trainings here in Europe, principally the guy that I mentioned, David Kyle. He's been coming here now for nearly 15 years. Great. Yeah.
Tomorrow I will join the rocket yoga class, I think, and I'm really excited about it. It sounds great.
It's good fun.
I love the hand balances and all this stuff.
Absolutely. Like I said, there really is room for people that, they're playing in their first kind of crows, their first kind of high planks, they're starting to build that upper body strength. But there's also, we can offer variations for people that are already comfortable in handstands, they're working on their handstands. It really gives us a lot of room to modify and adjust the classes to tailor each individual student.
And in the end, everybody is happy.
Absolutely, that's the idea. Everyone moves and breathes, and there's so many different styles of yoga nowadays. I can think of probably, without thinking too hard, 25 different styles of yoga. But at the end of the day, my real honest belief is if people are moving their bodies and breathing consciously, we're in a good space. That's taking people in the right direction. That's going to have a positive impact for those individual people, and I think as communities as well.
One personal question. Which style of yoga do you prefer? And why?
So, rocket yoga, I guess, would be my preferred style of yoga to practice, but I'm also very, very fond of Ashtanga, traditional Ashtanga. The idea of the Mysore Ashtanga practice for me is a wonderful concept. It really not forces is the wrong word, but it obligates the student to then go away and learn something for themselves, so they take a little bit more interest, and that really helps deepen on their yoga path. And the practice, the idea that you can take that practice anywhere with you. All you need is your mat. You've got the series in theory in your head.
That's true.
So you can practice on your own, be it on a beach, be it on a roof terrace, be it in a studio. And then when you get to practice in a room of other like-minded people that have also taken that step to try and make a little bit of an effort to learn that yoga path and learn a series of poses, and the breath comes together. It's a really magical experience. So I would say, if I'm looking for a class to take somewhere, if I go on a, like, let's say some yoga holidays, or I'm on holiday somewhere, I generally try and find a studio that teaches Ashtanga or Rocket.
Okay, cool. Yeah, in the end, do you have something in your mind you want to tell?
Wow, something in my mind that I want to tell. So I think over the last few years, particularly with COVID, we've really been sort of separating away a little bit. We've been breaking those social contacts and those that sort of community of feeling that we've had in previous years. And for me, like, what I kind of feel is one of my missions of having a yoga studio, other than just teaching individual people yoga and you know, letting them enjoy their yoga path and grow, is I'm really trying to build a community. You know, I want people to come together. Online yoga, the yoga videos, I think they're fabulous. I think they're wonderful. I think they have their space. But I also think that bringing of people together and moving and breathing together, and that partnership and that sharing of energy with people is a really wonderful thing. And I think that is just so positive for, not just the individual, but the community as a whole. Bringing people together is a really cool thing. So we can start to share our experiences a little bit more.
Share the yoga.
Absolutely.
The yoga all over the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Adam, thank you for this short, interesting interview.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
It was lovely to talk to you. Thank you for practicing with me, and I hope you enjoy Rocket tomorrow evening.
I hope so. If you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you have any questions, put it down there. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your patience. Namaste.
Namaste.
Great.
There we go.
How long was it?
I reckon 10 minutes. 20. Yeah, wow. I always get better than 10.
Are you very spiritual in your classes, or?
And it's more and more. It's progressing. Like I said to you the other day, like when I first started teaching, there was no theory or philosophy involved in it. But now more and more I am bringing it in, because I guess I'm experiencing it. I'm also somebody that will only want to teach something that I believe in. The only things that I'm comfortable teaching is something that I feel. Yeah, and also your students, or in my hometown, it's like tiny pieces. Yeah, little bits, but you won't ever hear me really talk about chapters in my yoga classes, because I've never experienced that idea of 7 balls of energetic light in my body that are spinning it. But Nadi Shodhana, for example, this is amazing. I feel it. And I feel it. But when somebody said, like when I first learned about Nadi Shodhana, so what you're doing is you're balancing your energy channels. It goes through your left nostril, Pingala through your right, and it crosses through your brain. And then it goes like a snake all the way along these chakras in your, because that's something for me that is not believable. That's not in my language. But then, you know, I've got some people that are really, really, really deeply involved in Wim Hof. So they're like massively involved in breath work, massively involved in the body. You know, they're also trained physiotherapists and osteopaths, and like really, really super training. They're saying, actually what it is your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. And what you're doing, you're balancing your nervous system. Yes, you trigger these nervous points. Exactly, and I'm like, oh, okay, that starts to make a bit more sense now. I can believe that, and I can understand that. And so it's like, when people start talking to me in language that I understand, then I'm like, oh, okay, now it's starting to make sense. Once I had a group of 3 men in it, and the bass of the sound was so good, and then the third arm starts growing and was so loud, and you could feel the sound, the vibe. That was cool. That was great. And then everybody felt comfortable. And don't be afraid of your own voice. Notice what happens. Where do you feel the vibration? Or, you know, you can feel it. And then once they felt it for the first time, being direct with their thoughts, then they're like, oh, okay, all right, I can do it. The Wim Hof teacher, one of the things that she explains sometimes, and I've asked her, I'm like, I don't understand why, when we get together in a group, we get so much more of an experience. You know, I get it's nice to be with your friends and stuff, but I don't understand why. She's like, sometimes you don't need to understand. Just like, but you're aware that it happens. You experience it. I'm like, yeah, cool. She's like, everything, you don't need to see or be able to put a label and everything for it to be real. She's like, can you see Wi-Fi? No. Is it there? Yeah. Can you feel it? No. Does it send information to your phone? Yeah. She's like, describe it like Wi-Fi to people, like know if things are there or not, you don't have to see it. It doesn't have to be something that you can take hold of for it to be real.
In the end, your yoga helps you to be aware of your thoughts, of your speech, your body.
I think it definitely helps me be more positive, because I know there's so many people that come to yoga and they practice yoga a lot, and they get hung up and focus on the 3 poses that they can't do, and they ignore and forget about the 3,000 poses that they can do.
Yes.
So I always try and keep bringing people back, saying, you might be frustrated that you can't do a handstand, but think of all the other amazing miracles you can do with your body. Trying to get that idea of positivity. Yeah, okay, you might get stuck in traffic one day, but you didn't for the last 3 years.
Yes.
And you suddenly forget the last 3 years where you didn't have a problem. It's super easy to get fixated. Always fixate on the negative things.
Good, but teaching yoga is different from having an own yoga studio. And
people always ask me. They say, because I always used to say, being a yoga teacher is not a job. It's not a job. It doesn't feel like work.
Oh, what?
Teaching yoga does not feel like a job. But
you should take these again.
But only a yoga studio does. No, I'm going to go downstairs now. I'm going to have dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no. Only a studio feels like a job. Teaching yoga does not.